For centuries, Nostradamus giving lot of prophecies for this world. His shocking predictions cover an astonishing variety of topics, from dramatic political upheavals that reshape nations to devastating natural disasters that change our vision about this world. He seemed possessed a strange ability to peer through the veil of time and foresee the tapestry of future events could potentially come true in the year 2025. And now we're going to release a list of the top 10 prophecies that might become true in this year. Number 10, the rise of a world leader. Among his most debated prophecies is one that speaks of the dramatic rise of a world leader, an individual destined to profoundly alter the course of human history. In his enigmatic quatrains, Nostradamus introduces a prominent figure originating from the north, a leader who will wield power with unwavering strength and conviction, initiating transformations that will be perceived as undeniably positive, yet potentially destructive. This particular prophecy has been widely interpreted as a possible indication of the emergence of a powerful political leader in 2025. Someone who will boldly challenge the established world order and fundamentally reshape the foundations of global relations. Many believe this refers to contemporary political figures with existing authoritarian tendencies who are gaining increasing global influence. Nostradamus may accurately foresaw the rise of a leader capable of altering the established balance of global power. The escalation of international tensions and the proliferation of political divisions worldwide could well create an environment ripe for a charismatic yet potentially disruptive leader from the north to step forward and advocate for a new world order. The striking similarities between Nostradamus's description of this enigmatic leader and the attributes of contemporary political figures have fueled intense speculation about their potential identities. Some believe it could be an established leader already exerting considerable control over their nation, while others argue that the figure Nostradamus envisioned has yet to emerge. Number 9. The last Pope. Pope Francis, the 266th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, has had a profound impact on the world since his election in 2013. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires, Argentina, he was the first Jesuit and the first Pope from the Americas. During his tenure as Pope, Francis has sought to address issues like climate change and the suffering of refugees, modernize the Church, and advance social justice. The Pope was admitted to Gemelli Hospital in Rome a few days ago after what medical professionals described as an increasingly complex health issue. According to the Vatican, he had pneumonia in both lungs. It later led to early stages of kidney insufficiency, it added. Doctors have said Francis's condition is touch and go, given his age, fragility, and pre-existing lung disease, and that the main threat facing him is if the infection enters the bloodstream, a serious condition known as sepsis. New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan, speaking from St. Patrick's Cathedral, acknowledged the gravity of the situation, saying, "As our Holy Father Pope Francis is in very, very fragile health and probably close to death," adding that he was praying for Francis to bounce back. This bad scenario leads us to the prophecy that was given by the 16th century seer very long ago. According to Nostradamus, we could be facing a year that could mean the farewell to Pope Francis, who at 88 years of age in 2025. In one of his writings, Nostradamus said, "Through the death of a very old pontiff, a Roman of good age will be elected. Of him, it will be said that he weakens his see, but long will he sit, and in biting activity." Some believe this means an elderly pope, possibly Pope Francis, may pass away, and a new one will be chosen. Another part of his prophecy says, "In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will sit Peter the Roman, who will pasture his sheep in many tribulations, and when these things are finished, the city of 7 hills will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people." The end. This has led to further speculation that the Catholic Church may face difficult times ahead. According to him, the end of the previous pope opens the new journey for the following one. So, do you wonder how the next pope will be selected? Here is what you might be curious about the papal election. The Pope's worsening health has raised questions about the Catholic Church's succession plan. The only time papal power changes hands is when a pope dies or resigns. The election of a new pope follows a centuries-old process known as the papal conclave. When a pope dies or resigns, the College of Cardinals gathers in the Sistine Chapel to elect a new leader. All voting cardinals must first take an oath of secrecy before being cut off from the outside world. Only cardinals under the age of 80 are eligible to vote. The process involves multiple rounds of voting until a candidate secures a 2/3 majority. White smoke rising from the Sistine Chapel chimney signals the election. Anyway, Pope Francis's reign has been characterized by his humility, focus on the marginalized, and efforts to reform the Church. As the world watches his health closely, the potential transition to new leadership marks a significant moment in the history of the Catholic Church. Whether Nostradamus's predictions hold any truth remains to be seen, but the impact of Pope Francis's papacy will undoubtedly be felt for years to come. Number 8. Global natural disasters. Among the diverse tapestry of Nostradamus's prophecies, one of the most daunting and unsettling refers to a series of catastrophic natural disasters that will devastate the planet in 2025. His writings suggest that these cataclysmic events will affect both powerful nations and smaller, more vulnerable communities scattered across the world. Nostradamus predicts earthquakes, floods, and storms of unprecedented magnitude, surpassing anything humanity has ever witnessed. This implies that the Earth itself may be teetering on the brink of an environmental crisis unlike any other in recorded history. In a world already grappling with the escalating challenges of climate change, the ominous prospect of even more severe and frequent natural disasters seems increasingly plausible. Experts have long and consistently warned that phenomena such as global warming, rampant deforestation, and widespread pollution are exacerbating both the frequency and intensity of natural disasters, a trend that eerily reflects the foresight displayed in Nostradamus's prophecies. A prevailing interpretation of this prophecy suggests that Nostradamus was indeed issuing a warning about the cumulative and devastating effects of unchecked climate change. His cryptic references to fire in the sky and overflowing rivers could easily allude to the growing prevalence of wildfires and the increasing severity of extreme storms, which have become more common and destructive as a direct result of climate change. Some believe that the disasters predicted for 2025 will serve as a powerful warning, urging humanity to change its destructive course before it is irrevocably too late. Number 7. Social revolutions. Nostradamus also warned us a series of profound social revolutions that will spread across the globe in 2025. According to his prophecies, these upheavals will arise from the festering wounds of growing inequality and increasing dissatisfaction with prevailing social and political conditions. Nostradamus describes a fire burning intensely in the heart of cities, a phrase often interpreted as a prediction of widespread social unrest and revolutionary changes that could fundamentally reshape the very fabric of modern society. Well, the ever-widening gap between the wealthy elite and the impoverished masses, coupled with increasingly intense issues of racial, gender, and class inequality, creates a volatile environment conducive to the kind of radical social revolution that Nostradamus predicted centuries ago. A prevailing interpretation suggests that Nostradamus anticipated a massive and coordinated uprising against ruling elites. His reference to fire in the heart of cities could symbolically represent the protests and riots that frequently erupt in urban areas where inequality is most visible and deeply felt. In recent years, large-scale protests have erupted worldwide, from Hong Kong to Paris, as citizens demand justice and equality in response to systemic corruption and oppression. Nostradamus's prophecy may well suggest that these disturbances will intensify significantly in 2025. Ultimately leading to profound and lasting social changes. Another perspective suggests that technology will play a fundamental and transformative role in these imminent revolutions. Nostradamus mentioned a new power emerging, which some scholars interpret as a reference to social networks and digital technology. In today's interconnected world, online platforms have proven to be powerful tools for organizing social movements. This prophecy could be pointing toward a digital revolution that will fundamentally alter the dynamics of global power. Number 6. Extreme climate changes. In his cryptic quatrains, he refers to furious winds and raging seas, which many interpreters understand as warnings about increasingly destructive storms, devastating hurricanes, and other extreme weather phenomena of unprecedented scale and intensity. While climate change is by no means a new concern, the undeniable intensity and frequency of such phenomena have dramatically increased in recent years. Devastating heat waves, violent storms, and catastrophic floods are wreaking havoc worldwide, and scientists continue to issue increasingly severe warnings that climate change is actively worsening these events and making them more frequent. Nostradamus's prophecy seems to align with these growing concerns, suggesting that 2025 could mark a critical turning point when the effects of climate change become even more severe and widespread. A common interpretation of this prophecy is that Nostradamus predicted a significant increase in the frequency and intensity of natural disasters as a direct consequence of escalating climate change. References to furious winds and raging seas could symbolically represent hurricanes and typhoons devastating coastal regions, while images of fire in the sky may refer to the devastating wildfires that have ravaged forests in recent years. These events are already occurring with alarming regularity, and the possibility of them intensifying in the coming years is a cause for serious and widespread concern. Another interpretation suggests that Nostradamus foresaw broader and more comprehensive global climate changes beyond extreme weather events. His mention of darkened skies could be a reference to widespread pollution and global dimming caused by uncontrolled fossil fuel emissions and other pollutants. Number 5. Global conflicts. Nostradamus's intricate quatrains have long been interpreted as ominous predictions of extensive military conflicts that could erupt in 2025. His visions paint a grim picture of devastating wars involving multiple nations, accelerating the world's descent into global catastrophe. The evocative phrase, "fire and blood in the sky," is frequently understood as a chilling reference to modern airstrikes and relentless bombings, suggesting a potential conflict involving the world's most formidable military powers. Scholars and experts dedicated to studying Nostradamus's prophecies have drawn connections between these predictions of war and the growing geopolitical tensions defining our current global landscape. As diplomatic relations between global superpowers become increasingly strained, the specter of military conflict looms larger. Contentious disputes over territories, the relentless buildup of advanced weaponry, and deeply rooted ideological clashes are all potential catalysts that could trigger a series of escalating confrontations, ultimately culminating in a large-scale war. Nostradamus appears to have envisioned a dangerous scenario in which traditional diplomacy fails and nations resort to violent means as a desperate attempt to resolve their differences. Many interpretations of this prophecy suggest a potential conflict between the world's dominant superpowers, naming countries like the United States, China, and Russia as possible key players in this looming global drama. The striking imagery of great eagles facing off has been widely interpreted as a symbolic representation of these powerful nations, whose relations have undoubtedly deteriorated in recent years. The persistent risk that a territorial dispute or a devastating diplomatic failure could trigger a broader, more widespread conflict remains a major concern within the current volatile geopolitical climate. Moreover, the ominous mention of fire in the sky is sometimes linked to the terrifying possibility of nuclear war, further intensifying the potential for widespread destruction and unimaginable consequences. Within the broader context of global conflicts, some historians and researchers believe that Nostradamus may have been alluding to a Third World War. The French seer appears to have prophesied the onset of a new global conflict precisely 79 years after the conclusion of World War II. Contemporary geopolitical analysts and experts have begun to seriously consider the possibility of a confrontation centered around China, particularly as the nation continues its meteoric rise to global prominence and influence. In recent years, China has assertively demonstrated its military capabilities in disputed regions such as the South China Sea and Taiwan, often through a strong and assertive naval presence. Certain scholars argue that these prophecies could be interpreted as allusions to growing tensions in Asia, particularly those existing between China and NATO countries, which could potentially escalate into a violent military confrontation or even a large-scale war. Nostradamus's extensive writings also contain prophecies that explicitly reference naval warfare and intense combat, including the ominous mention of a red adversary who would eventually pale in fear, plunging the vast ocean into a state of deep dread. While some interpreters have identified the red adversary as a direct reference to China, it is important to recognize that this prophecy could also apply to other existing conflicts. The current situation in Ukraine, latent tensions between China and Taiwan, or even the persistent conflicts and violence in Palestine represent other potential focal points for future conflicts. Number 4. Revelation of ancient secrets. Nostradamus predicted that 2025 could witness the remarkable revelation of ancient secrets that have remained hidden for centuries, away from the world's eyes. According to his cryptic quatrains, these long-buried truths will dramatically alter our understanding of history and human knowledge, challenging deeply rooted beliefs and theories that have shaped our perception of the past. Many speculate that this could mean the discovery of lost texts, artifacts of immense historical significance, or previously unknown bodies of knowledge that could rewrite our understanding of historical narratives and reshape our perception of the past. A common interpretation of this prophecy is that Nostradamus foresaw the discovery of ancient manuscripts and texts that had been deliberately concealed for political or religious reasons and kept hidden from public view for centuries. Advances in exploration techniques and innovative preservation technologies make the discovery of such texts more feasible than ever. These groundbreaking discoveries could offer new and invaluable insights into past civilizations, shedding light on previously unknown aspects of their cultures and customs, and potentially changing the course of historical scholarship. Number 3. The coming of the Antichrist. The third Antichrist is here, just as Nostradamus predicted. 5 centuries ago, Nostradamus wrote of 3 Antichrists. 2, Napoleon and Hitler, have already bathed the world in blood, but it is the third who will bring the apocalypse. And his time has come. There are many names mentioned in connection with the Antichrist. People have made a lot of speculations about the identity of this person. It could be a famous person, rich, eloquent, and able to convince people easily. He is suspected of being Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or even King Charles. But we also have no certainty about this person's identity. We only know that that evil person has most likely appeared and is showing off his power. We are living in a time when the battle between the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan is heating up as never before. I believe this is because we are nearing the return of Christ and the ultimate destruction of Satan's kingdom. Little children, it is the last hour, and as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have come, by which we know that it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest, that none of them were of us. But you have an anointing from the Holy One, and you know all things. I have not written to you because you do not know the truth, but because you know it, and that no lie is of the truth. Who is a liar, but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? He is an Antichrist who denies the Father and the Son. Whoever denies the Son does not have the Father either. He who acknowledges the Son has the Father also. Please note that there is not one, but many Antichrists. In the course of human history, many Antichrists have appeared and been manifested. Secondly, there is the Antichrist, one specific person. That is the final manifestation, the final product of the spirit of Antichrist, which has not yet been revealed in human history. I believe his shadow has already fallen across the stage, but we have not seen the actual person. But at the end of this age, Scripture makes it clear, there will be one final, supremely evil, supremely powerful ruler who will dominate the human race for a brief period, who will be the Antichrist. The third form is the spirit of the Antichrist. The spirit of the Antichrist is the spirit that operates through every Antichrist. So Antichrist always begins in some way in association with the people of God. But it does not really belong there, and in due course, that will be made manifest. That is one mark of the spirit of the Antichrist. Number 2, the coming of the Antichrist. The third Antichrist is here, just as Nostradamus predicted. 5 centuries ago, Nostradamus wrote of 3 Antichrists. 2, Napoleon and Hitler, have already bathed the world in blood, but it is the third who will bring the apocalypse. And his time has come. There are many names mentioned in connection with the Antichrist. People have made a lot of speculations about the identity of this person. It could be a famous person, rich, eloquent, and able to convince people easily. He is suspected of being Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or even King Charles. But we also have no certainty about this person's identity. We only know that that evil person has most likely appeared and is showing off his power. We are living in a time when the battle between the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan is heating up as never before. I believe this is because we are nearing the return of Christ and the ultimate destruction of Satan's kingdom. Little children, it is the last hour, and as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have come, by which we know that it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest, that none of them were of us. But you have an anointing from the Holy One, and you know all things. I have not written to you because you do not know the truth, but because you know it, and that no lie is of the truth. Who is a liar, but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? He is an Antichrist who denies the Father and the Son. Whoever denies the Son does not have the Father either. He who acknowledges the Son has the Father also. Please note that there is not one, but many Antichrists. In the course of human history, many Antichrists have appeared and been manifested. Secondly, there is the Antichrist, one specific person. That is the final manifestation, the final product of the spirit of Antichrist, which has not yet been revealed in human history. I believe his shadow has already fallen across the stage, but we have not seen the actual person. But at the end of this age, Scripture makes it clear, there will be one final, supremely evil, supremely powerful ruler who will dominate the human race for a brief period, who will be the Antichrist. The third form is the spirit of the Antichrist. The spirit of the Antichrist is the spirit that operates through every Antichrist. So Antichrist always begins in some way in association with the people of God. But it does not really belong there, and in due course, that will be made manifest. That is one mark of the spirit of the Antichrist. The very manner in which the Antichrist is predicted to emerge in Nostradamus's prophecies inevitably prompts profound and uncomfortable questions about the nature of human actions and the complex socio-political dynamics involved in the erosion of peace and stability. The Antichrist of the Middle East is portrayed not merely as a solitary individual acting in isolation, but rather as a deeply insidious figure who strategically emerges from the chaos created by widespread wars, general famine, and rampant social unrest. As nations struggle with internal conflicts, economic collapse, and political polarization, the prophecy suggests the cultivation of a fertile environment for the rise of such a manipulative leader. A leader whose sphere of influence could ultimately extend far beyond regional borders, impacting the entire global community. Nostradamus so vividly warned of in his prophetic writings. As people increasingly seek stability, security, and a sense of belonging in ever more uncertain and unpredictable times, they may unintentionally empower leaders whose true intentions are cleverly hidden and promises of national renewal, thus aligning with the sinister predictions of manipulation and deception described by Nostradamus. In carefully examining Nostradamus's prophecies, it is crucial not to overlook the compelling ways they eerily intersect with contemporary events that are actively shaping our world. The growing frequency and severity of climate-related disasters, persistently high levels of simmering geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, and the concerning rise of authoritarian and nationalist leaders in various parts of the world together create a troubling narrative that, in many surprising ways, reflects the warnings and scenarios described in the enigmatic quatrains. Moreover, as nations become increasingly self-focused, prioritizing their own survival and narrowly defined national interests in the face of global challenges, the potential for a unifying figure who skillfully capitalizes on widespread fear, anxiety, and empty promises of salvation becomes more prominent and concerning. Another critical element that must be carefully considered when analyzing Nostradamus's prophecies is the potentially pivotal role of rapidly evolving technology in enabling the rise of the Antichrist. In the complexities of the modern world, technology increasingly influences nearly every facet of human life, from communication and governance to warfare and information dissemination. The rapid development and proliferation of artificial intelligence, advanced surveillance systems, and powerful social media platforms have fundamentally transformed the ways in which leaders connect with their followers, consolidate political power, and shape public opinion. It is conceivable that Nostradamus's indirect references to artificial intelligence in some of his quatrains could reflect a prophetic understanding of how such transformative technologies might ultimately facilitate the rise to power of the Antichrist and his ability to control vast populations. The sophisticated manipulation of information through digital channels, the widespread dissemination of propaganda via social media, and the ability to strictly control narratives through technological means could potentially enable a cunning and manipulative leader to influence public opinion on a global scale, incite chaos and division within and between nations, and ultimately orchestrate the very turbulent events Nostradamus chillingly predicted centuries ago. Number 1. The Doomsday. We're living in an age where we will see the fulfillment of the remaining one-third of his prophecies. Nostradamus saw all of these things happening. And this is what he wanted to warn us, that we were heading down into a terrible time that could destroy the world. Before Doomsday arrives, it always brings us many signs. One of the clearest signs is the devastating destruction that impacts humanity. Nostradamus once warned us all about the eruption of a great fire. One quatrain describes fire in the new world and waves that drown, which has been interpreted as warnings of devastating wildfires and tsunamis. As we face these predictions, it is essential to approach them with a balance of curiosity and caution, acknowledging both their historical context and their potential relevance to today's global challenges. It is also said that Nostradamus mentions lands turning into deserts and submerged cities, which many associate with the effects of climate change in regions like Brazil, where severe droughts could occur, and coastal areas in Asia and southern Europe, which could be at risk of flooding. These interpretations reflect current concerns about global warming and how it might reshape the world in the coming decades. To describe this verse, it can be understood that the already harsh climate situation will get worse. The French prophet predicts that extreme weather phenomena such as record heat, Forest fires, droughts, and storms will increasingly occur with greater frequency and intensity. Global warming is a huge phenomenon in the modern day. The Bible does not specifically talk about climate change or global warming. However, the Bible does tell us the world will eventually be burned in fire, which could be another way to understand how alarming the Earth's condition will gradually become. Nostradamus describes earthquakes, floods, and storms that will surpass anything humanity has ever experienced before, suggesting that the world is on the brink of an unprecedented environmental crisis. Scholars of Nostradamus have pointed out that his predictions of natural disasters often align with current weather patterns, making this prophecy even more unsettling in a world where climate change is already wreaking havoc. The idea that even more severe natural disasters are looming no longer seems far-fetched. Scientists have repeatedly warned that events like global warming, deforestation, and pollution are exacerbating the frequency and intensity of natural disasters, and Nostradamus's prophecy seems to reflect these contemporary concerns. One of the most common interpretations of this prophecy is that Nostradamus was warning about the cumulative effects of climate change. References to fire in the sky and overflowing rivers could be interpreted as allusions to wildfires and extreme storms, both phenomena that are already occurring more frequently due to climate change. Additionally, the mention of the earth shaking may refer to an increase in seismic activity, something that some experts believe could be related to the extraction of natural resources and other human activities that affect soil stability. It is important to note that while Nostradamus's prophecies are often interpreted symbolically, the connection between his visions and current natural disasters has led to renewed interest in his writings. Some believe that the natural disasters predicted for 2025 will serve as a wake-up call for humanity, a warning that we must change our behavior before it is too late. On the other hand, skeptics argue that Nostradamus's predictions are too vague and can be interpreted in many different ways. 2. Peter 3:10 informs us, "But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar, the elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything done in it will be laid bare." God will one day erase this current universe and replace it with the new heavens and new earth. How much effort should be made saving a planet that God is eventually going to obliterate and replace with a planet so amazing and wonderful that the current earth pales in comparison? In a world gripped by uncertainty and unrest, the prophecies of Nostradamus have captivated believers and skeptics alike for centuries. The occurrence of the third and fourth earthquake and hail storm. The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Christ, and he will reign forever and ever. Within the hour the two witnesses are raptured, a third great earthquake destroys a tenth of Jerusalem. 7,000 people are killed, and those left alive are terrified and give glory to the God of heaven. Could these glorifiers of God be the Jews Jesus warns to flee when they see the abomination of desolation in the temple? Revelation 11:15-19 immediately takes us back to heaven, where we see Jesus beginning to reign on earth. 24 elders surround the throne saying, "Jesus reigns, and it's time to reward his bondservants and those who fear his name, and to destroy those who destroy the earth." The temple of God in heaven is opened, and the Ark of the Covenant appears in his temple. And there is a fourth earthquake and a great hailstorm. At that moment, the day has come. As we explore the prophecies of Nostradamus, we are confronted with chilling anticipation.
Among her numerous claims were predictions relating to world events, many which would later come true.
We all now witness a clearly truth. The world is changing faster than ever. The balance of power shifts overnight, where nations rise to glory while others crumble. Baba Vanga's visions for 2025 paint a picture of a world in flux. She spoke of 3 countries destined to rise like phoenixes from the ashes, and 3 others poised to fall from grace. According to her thought, 3 nations are rising, taking on new roles in global leadership, economy, and influence. Meanwhile, the other 3 face turmoil, economic struggles, and political shifts that could redefine their futures. With Baba Vanga's predictions, the world is undoubtedly shifting in dramatic ways. Are these changes merely the natural ebbs and flows of history, or is there something more profound at play? The 3 nations set to rise. Baba Vanga foresaw a dramatic shift in global power dynamics. While she never explicitly named countries, her visions have been linked to current events, and many believe they point to the rise of 3 specific nations. The prediction starts with the rise of a great Eastern power. As we delve deeper into Baba Vanga's enigmatic prophecies, one question stands out. Could the great Eastern power she envisioned be India? Legends tell of a mysterious prophecy, one that whispers of an Eastern nation rising to challenge the dominance of the West, not just in terms of wealth, but also in technological breakthroughs, cultural impact, and global leadership. Many believe this vision aligns with India, a country that is rapidly transforming itself into a powerhouse on the world stage. India's economic expansion is nothing short of remarkable. With a booming workforce, a thriving digital economy, and strategic global partnerships, experts suggest that by 2025, India could overtake Germany and Japan, securing its place as the world's 3rd largest economy. But growth isn't just about numbers. India is also positioning itself at the forefront of innovation, space exploration, and international diplomacy. In the age of artificial intelligence, Indian tech companies and startups are making waves, attracting major investments and driving the next wave of digital transformation. The country is also solidifying its role in renewable energy, developing cutting-edge solutions to combat climate change while reducing dependence on fossil fuels. Additionally, India's advancements in defense technology and space exploration, including its ambitious lunar and interplanetary missions, are placing it among the world's leading spacefaring nations. But beyond economics and technology, India's cultural influence is also growing. From Bollywood's global reach to the spread of yoga, cuisine, and philosophy, the nation is leaving its mark on every corner of the world. With all these factors combined, one can't help but wonder, is India truly stepping into the role foreseen in ancient predictions? Could we be witnessing the dawn of a new era where India emerges as a defining force in shaping the future? Could India be the Eastern superpower Baba Vanga foresaw? Time will tell. The next nation was mentioned in her words is a nation stands out due to its unique geographical position, none other than Turkey. Nestled at the confluence of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, Turkey has long held a pivotal role in global geopolitics. Its unique location is more than just a point on the map. It's a gateway connecting civilizations, economies, and strategic alliances. At the heart of this positioning lies the Bosporus Strait, a vital maritime passage where nearly 10% of global trade flows, cementing Turkey's control over one of the world's most crucial trade routes. But Turkey's significance extends far beyond geography. Over the past decade, the nation has been making bold moves, reshaping its economy, expanding its influence, and emerging as a key player in global affairs. Its leadership has strategically invested in infrastructure, defense, and technology, aiming to position Turkey among the world's most self-reliant and powerful nations. Could this be the very transformation that aligns with an age-old prophecy of a nation rising to bridge continents and assert global dominance? In the realm of diplomacy, Turkey has carved out a role as a mediator in some of the world's most intense conflicts, particularly in the volatile Middle East and Eastern Europe. With a dynamic foreign policy, it has navigated complex relationships with world powers while strengthening ties with regional allies. At the same time, its defense industry is rapidly advancing, with indigenous military technologies, drone warfare capabilities, and arms exports positioning Turkey as a formidable force in modern warfare. On the economic front, Turkey has been diversifying its industries, bolstering tourism, and fostering innovation, all while managing the challenges of inflation and shifting global markets. Its growing influence in renewable energy and trade partnerships signals a nation determined to secure a sustainable and dominant future. With its unique blend of military strength, economic ambition, and diplomatic agility, Turkey is at a crossroads, one where it could either face turbulence or rise to unprecedented heights on the world stage. Is this the beginning of a new era for Turkey? Could the vision of a nation bridging continents be unfolding before our eyes? Finally, Vanga revealed us about the rise of a South American giant. We are now talking about Brazil. Brazil, a land of breathtaking landscapes, abundant natural resources, and boundless potential. For decades, the country has grappled with economic turmoil, political instability, and environmental challenges. Yet, as we move closer to 2025, a remarkable transformation is unfolding. Could this be the very shift that aligns with Baba Vanga's vision of a nation rising to lead the world in sustainability? Once burdened by crises, Brazil is now turning its greatest challenges into strengths. With the Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the earth, and an extensive network of rivers, Brazil is uniquely positioned to revolutionize the global energy sector. Already a dominant force in hydroelectric power, the country is now making bold strides in solar and wind energy, setting new global standards in renewable technology. Its commitment to clean energy innovation is not just reshaping its own future, but also influencing worldwide efforts to combat climate change. But sustainability isn't just about energy. It's about economic resilience, environmental stewardship, and global leadership. Brazil is actively investing in eco-friendly infrastructure, pioneering green urban planning, and developing policies aimed at protecting its invaluable ecosystems. At the same time, its influence on global trade, agriculture, and technological advancements in sustainability is steadily growing. As Brazil embraces its role as a leader in renewable energy and ecological preservation, the world is taking notice. Could this be the dawn of a new era for Brazil? A nation that once faced countless hurdles is now emerging as a beacon of hope in the fight for a greener, more sustainable future. Is Brazil on track to fulfill this prophetic vision? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world will be watching. The three nations set to face challenges. With what she had predicted for the above three countries, her visions continued suggest that 2025 could be a bad year for these three global powers. Starting with America. Baba Vanga allegedly foresaw an economic crisis that would impact many parts of the world in 2025. She foresaw a financial collapse that would shake the global economy, leading to widespread poverty and turmoil. The crisis would not only affect banks and markets, but also devastate everyday life for people worldwide. According to some accounts, she predicted a financial collapse that would disrupt the global economy and plunge millions into poverty. This crisis is expected to manifest as hyperinflation in Latin American countries, particularly Argentina, and cause employment and stability issues in developed economies worldwide. Trump's legacy, should he become president, will be the cost of his long-held ambition to ramp up his trade wars against the world. President Donald Trump has started his second term in office with momentous plans to change U.S. trade policy to achieve various economic and non-trade-related aims. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order imposing new tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China. Under the new U.S. order, import tariffs on Chinese goods will be set at 10%, while most goods from Canada and Mexico will face a 25% tariff. Trump's aggressive tariff policy is part of his long-term strategy to strengthen America's trade position on the global stage. However, this move could trigger a large-scale trade war with severe economic consequences. We are not sure, but in the scenario where Trump sits back on the throne, how will America's future be? It is a planned economic collapse. Whether it's just a spooky coincidence or a reflection of real-world fears, one thing is clear. Economic uncertainty is looming. While we can only hope the future doesn't play out like this Simpsons episode, it's definitely a good time to stay prepared and keep an eye on your finances. As inflation rates rise and the world drowns in debt, a huge economic meltdown in 2025 is no far-fetched scenario. As you can see now, all governments around the globe are struggling with huge debts and investments that have resulted in speculation all over the globe. This show is a testament to poor choices in financial activities that resonate even louder and clearer today than ever before. With Donald Trump once again at the center of political discourse and the global economy on edge, the prophetic tone of this particular episode strikes closer to home than ever before. The Simpsons may be known for its humor, but its uncanny ability to mirror the future leaves many wondering if this fictional collapse could soon become a real-world disaster. Before we delve deeper into this discussion, it's crucial to emphasize that our objective here is not to advocate for any specific viewpoint, but rather to explore the narratives and interpretations that people have been discussing around this topic. In the context of faith, particularly in Christianity, many believe that natural and man-made disasters serve as warnings, as consequences of the sinfulness of humanity. Only God knows what the future holds, and we must turn to Him for guidance in these times of uncertainty. The whole of America should pray together for peace in all states, for the sake of its citizens. The prophecy of Nostradamus could come true, and everybody should pay attention and be prepared for what is to come. Americans should unite together. What is happening in America right now is said to be fixed with what Vanga predicted before. She allegedly foresaw a major leadership crisis, financial instability, and civil unrest that could shake the nation to its core. Political polarization is at an all-time high, and economic challenges loom large on the horizon. Could 2025 be the year the U.S. faces its greatest test? The United Kingdom is the next nation is called. Baba Vanga's prophecies also hinted at the decline of a former colonial power. Many believe this could apply to the United Kingdom, which has been on shaky ground since Brexit. By 2025, the UK could face unprecedented challenges. Baba Vanga also warned of financial distress hitting Western Europe. With the UK's economy already showing signs of strain, could 2025 mark the beginning of a new era of uncertainty for the nation? Wider, she gave another big prediction for the Europe. Baba Vanga supposedly predicted the outbreak of a conflict that would affect much of Europe. Her visions seem to point to a war that could escalate to involve global powers. It is said that she warned about the destruction of the world as we know it, a phrase some interpret as referring to a conflict that could shift the balance of power and cause great loss. According to this interpretation, the conflict could drastically reduce the population in Europe and create a worldwide humanitarian crisis. Current tensions in Europe and Asia have led many to view this prediction as a serious warning, though the true scope of her words remains a topic of debate. Her prophecy states, "When Syria falls, a great war between the West and the East will follow. In the spring, a conflict will ignite in the East, leading to a third world war, a war that will destroy the West." As events in Syria spiral, fears of this vision coming true are mounting. Recent developments in Aleppo, where insurgents have captured key installations, have drawn renewed attention to a dire prophecy made by Baba Vanga. Rebels from the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham group have declared the end of the era as they push deeper into Damascus, capturing Sednaya prison, a notorious symbol of Assad's regime. Aleppo has already fallen, and while the Syrian Defense Ministry denies claims of Hom's capture, the rebels' momentum remains unchecked. Key ally Hezbollah has withdrawn its forces, and thousands of Syrian soldiers have reportedly fled to Iraq. Panic grips Damascus, with residents scrambling for supplies and money, fearing what comes next. In a symbolic act, Protesters in the city's suburbs have toppled statues of Assad's father, Hafez al-Assad. Before her death in 1996, Baba Vanga predicted that Syria's fall would act as a precursor to a global conflict. She warned, "As soon as Syria falls, expect a great war between the West and the East. In the spring, a war in the East will begin, and there will be a third world war, a war in the East that will destroy the West." This cryptic message has left many speculating about the future of the Middle East and the broader consequences for global stability. The rapid escalation in Syria is now seen as a potential trigger for the catastrophic conflict she foresaw. As Assad's regime collapses, Syria's unrest could spill over into neighboring regions, risking wider conflict. Baba Vanga's prophecy, once dismissed as folklore, feels alarmingly relevant as the global community braces for what might follow. The fall of Aleppo to insurgents has wider implications, not just for Syria, but also for global peace. With its international airport now under militant control, Syria's situation could potentially exacerbate tensions among major powers, particularly as Russian-made weapons feature prominently in the insurgents' cache. This development has drawn international scrutiny, with concerns that the conflict may escalate beyond the region. Adding weight to the prophecy, Baba Vanga ominously stated, "Syria will fall at the feet of the winner, but the winner will not be the one." This cryptic remark has left many wondering about the true implications of her foresight. As the situation in Syria unfolds, the eerie relevance of Baba Vanga's predictions serves as a reminder of the delicate state of international relations. While skeptics may dismiss her words as coincidence, the alignment of her prophecy with recent events underscores the uncertainty. That's why Baba Vanga also supposedly predicted the outbreak of a conflict that would affect much of Europe in 2025. Like Nostradamus, her visions seem to point to a war that could escalate to involve global powers. It is said that she warned about the destruction of the world as we know it, a phrase some interpret as referring to a conflict that could shift the balance of power and cause great loss. According to this interpretation, the conflict could drastically reduce the population in Europe and create a worldwide humanitarian crisis. Current tensions in Europe and Asia have led many to view this prediction as a serious warning, though the true scope of her words remains a topic of debate. Baba Vanga's predictions have frequently touched on Russia. Throughout history, Russia has been no stranger to political intrigue and economic turbulence. But if the predictions of Baba Vanga hold any weight, the nation could be on the brink of a major internal shift. She spoke of power struggles at the highest levels, potential betrayals, and economic instability that could send ripples across the globe. With ongoing geopolitical tensions, strict international sanctions, and mounting internal unrest, Russia stands at a crossroads. Some speculate that 2025 could usher in a leadership crisis, possibly even an internal coup, fundamentally reshaping the country's future. Economic pressures continue to mount, and if a financial collapse were to occur, just as Baba Vanga supposedly foresaw, it could trigger far-reaching consequences, both for Russia and the world economy. The question remains, is Russia heading toward a period of unprecedented upheaval? As the nation navigates these turbulent times, the world watches closely, wondering if we are witnessing a moment of profound historical change. Another warning from her. Besides the specific warnings Baba Vanga gave to the 6 countries mentioned above, she also cautioned the world about other terrifying events that could become a reality in 2025. At first, she warned us, the rise of technology. Could 2025 be the year we unlock the secrets of the human mind? According to Baba Vanga, telepathy could become a reality, stepping out of the realm of science fiction. Scientists will allegedly discover a way to harness brainwaves for direct communication. In Baba Vanga's predictions, thanks to advances in organ transplant technology, humans will live to be more than 100 years old. She also anticipated that the darkness would be gone and another region of Earth would be illuminated by artificial sunlight. She foresees a major breakthrough in the realm of quantum computing, bringing an unprecedented technological revolution. This advancement is set to shake up various sectors, from finance and healthcare to cybersecurity, all thanks to the mind-blowing capabilities of quantum computers. The rapid advance of technology is transforming civilization in ways no one expected, in ways that are exciting and scary, ways we are only beginning to understand. Tech seems on the verge of recreating human beings into something new, something altered, bionic, computerized, robotic, superhuman. The internet's spiderweb has descended and covered nearly all elements of civilization. The smartphone, smartwatch, and smart home are growing into the smart world. So, are these things linked to the Bible prophecy? Some readers may recall the words given to the prophet Daniel more than 25 centuries ago in Daniel 12:4, that at the time of the end, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. Not until recent history have we seen a time when millions of people rapidly fly all over the globe, reaching destinations in hours that in previous centuries took months or even years. Until year 1900, human knowledge approximately doubled every century. However, by 1950, human knowledge doubled every 25 years. In 2000, human knowledge would double every year. Now, our knowledge is almost doubling every day. This should certainly make us pay attention to how quickly our world is changing, and with it, how previously puzzling Bible prophecies might now be fulfilled. In Matthew 24, Jesus Christ's disciples asked him what would signal his return. What started with the movable type printing press in 1439 eventually matured into the internet and smartphones, instant fingertip access to anything at any time. Christ's words in Matthew 24:14 have never made more sense than in this era. The internet in everyone's pockets means the potential now exists, as never before, for the true gospel of God's coming kingdom to be preached, truly, to all nations. In Revelation 13:15-17, verses show the rise in the last days of a world-ruling superpower centered in Europe called the Beast. God's word shows it will exercise unprecedented control over people, like the vast Roman Empire but bigger and modern, with religion playing a major role. Revelation shows how the religious leader of this end-time superpower will honor the civil aspect of this power and will punish and kill those who refuse to worship the beast. Note how those who refuse to be part of this satanic system are cut off from buying or selling. Their economic tap is turned off. Then think of our soon-coming cashless society. Every transaction is rapidly becoming electronic. It will not be technically difficult for people to no longer be able to buy and sell if they do not fall in line with the beast power. Technology may not be the actual mark of the beast, but it will almost certainly be used to enforce the mark. The stage is set for God to reach vast numbers with the true gospel, and the context of this prophecy is just before Christ's second coming. Baba Vanga predicted that communication technologies would continue to evolve, making it easier for people to connect across vast distances. Innovations in this field could lead to faster, more reliable internet connections and new ways of interacting with each other, further shrinking the global village. Baba Vanga's technological advancements, predicted for 2024, are expected to impact daily life profoundly. From healthcare to communication, these innovations could improve efficiency, convenience, and overall quality of life. As we embrace these changes, it is important to consider the benefits and potential challenges they may bring. Also with that, humans face to dangerous cyber attacks. She warns of a surge in cyber attacks for 2024. These aren't your run-of-the-mill hackers. They're leveling up in sophistication, targeting critical infrastructure like power grids and water treatment facilities. These attacks could lead to widespread disruptions and chaos, posing a serious national security threat. If you think the COVID-19 pandemic marked the peak of humanity's fear, then what Vanga predicted could very well lead us to a fear no less profound. Baba Vanga's prediction of a sleep pandemic is one of her most unsettling warnings. She described a mysterious illness that could sweep across the world, causing people to fall into a sudden, unexplained sleep. One of the strangest prophecies for 2025 is the emergence of a new pandemic caused by lack of sleep. A strange virus that triggers an outbreak of extreme fatigue never seen before is spreading worldwide in 2025. This pandemic is unprecedented in its scale, leading to a future where insomnia is a debilitating disease affecting everyone, causing conflicts and social unrest. People will feel an irresistible need to sleep and will be unable to do anything for extended periods. As a result, people will find it harder to work, go to school, and live their normal lives. There are many possible causes of this sleep pandemic in 2025. One is the increasing use of technology, especially smartphones and social media, which disrupts the natural sleep cycle and exposes people to blue light and radiation. Another is the rising level of stress and anxiety caused by the chaotic and uncertain world situation, which prevents people from relaxing and falling asleep. A third factor is the declining quality of the environment, especially air and water, which affects people's health and well-being and disrupts their sleep. These causes have persisted and worsened in recent years. Although many experts and organizations have warned and advised people to care for their sleep hygiene and health, they have recommended following simple tips, such as avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bed, setting a regular sleep schedule, creating a comfortable and dark sleeping environment, and practicing relaxation techniques like meditation or yoga. Whatever the truth is, Baba Vanga's words leave us with chilling questions. For 2025, Vanga warned us the strange virus will attack human life so bad. Birds have been affected by numerous viruses in the past, such as avian flu, which can be transmitted to humans. It is possible that a new virus could emerge that would have a significant impact on bird populations. The potential consequences of such an event would depend on the severity of the virus and the ability of humans to contain its spread. A dangerous virus affecting bird populations could potentially have significant ecological and economic consequences. It could disrupt food supplies, as well as impact other animal populations that rely on birds for food or pollination. Additionally, it could potentially lead to the spread of the virus to humans, which could have significant health consequences. Bird populations have been affected by numerous viruses in the past, and the potential for future outbreaks is always a concern. However, the identification and monitoring of potential bird viruses is an active area of research, and scientists are working to develop new vaccines and other preventative measures to protect both birds and humans. Baba Vanga's predictions for 2025 also encompass significant geopolitical changes. She foresaw shifts in global power dynamics that could reshape international relations and influence the balance of power. Emerging powers could rise to prominence once dominant nations see their influence wane. These changes will impact global trade, economic policies, and diplomatic relations. Countries must navigate these shifts carefully to maintain stability and foster cooperation. Baba Vanga's prophecies suggest that some nations may form new alliances, while others could experience internal strife and political upheaval. The predicted geopolitical changes may also affect global security. Shifting power dynamics could increase the risk of conflicts and tensions. Nations must prioritize diplomacy and conflict resolution to avoid escalation and promote peace. In addition to power shifts, Baba Vanga predicted changes in global leadership. New leaders may emerge with different visions and policies, influencing the direction of their countries and the world. These leaders could be crucial in addressing global challenges, such as climate change, economic inequality, and social justice. Baba Vanga's predictions for geopolitical changes in 2025 highlight the need for adaptability and resilience. As the world evolves, Nations must work together to navigate these changes and create a more stable and prosperous future. Her words have been passed down orally, and she is now credited with several predictions for 2025 that point to profound global changes. Baba Vanga is also known for her visions of natural disasters that would affect the planet's climate and living conditions. She reportedly predicted that extreme weather events, including intense heat waves in Europe and desertification in parts of South America and Asia, would mark 2025. These interpretations align with modern concerns about climate change, which forecasts drought conditions and extreme heat in certain regions. She foresaw a catastrophic earthquake striking the United States. Though specifics like location or timing remain unclear, her followers believe this prediction could be linked to the heightened seismic activity across the country. She warned that this earthquake might result in widespread devastation and loss, affecting countless lives. In the United States, there is concern that these fires could severely impact California and other regions prone to massive wildfires. Meanwhile, in Asia, some believe Vanga predicted an earthquake or tsunami that could affect Japan and its surrounding areas. As we face these predictions, it is essential to approach them with a balance of curiosity and caution, acknowledging both their historical context and their potential relevance to today's global challenges. It is also said that Vanga mentions the effects of climate change in regions like Brazil, where severe droughts could occur, and coastal areas in Asia and southern Europe, which could be at risk of flooding. These interpretations reflect current concerns about global warming and how it might reshape the world in the coming decades. Apparently, the latest predictions have raised concern among her followers and the public, as they predict that the apocalypse will begin in 2025. The apocalypse is anticipated to begin in 2025, despite the fact that humanity will not be completely eradicated until 5079, as stated in the timeline of her predictions. Besides, Baba Vanga went on to state that a conflict in Europe would devastate the continent's population by 2025. The prophecy is worrying the people, particularly in light of the ongoing conflicts and tensions in geopolitics. Following Vanga, this is the timeline to the end of humanity. In 2025, the inciting incident that kicks off the ultimate end of humanity will be an unspecified conflict in Europe, which will devastate the continent's population. Then, when we come to 2028, humanity needs more energy. To do this, they will manage to explore Venus to find new energy sources. This may be one of the most unbelievable parts of this timeline, since Venus is essentially an inhospitable hellscape with an atmosphere so acidic that nothing could survive, and no space probe has ever managed to survive more than a couple of hours. In 2033, climate change is very dangerous, and that shouldn't be understated. However, Baba Vanga supposedly predicted that at this point, the polar ice caps would melt and sea levels would rise drastically worldwide. Ever see the old episode of The Simpsons where Russia flips a switch and the Soviet Union suddenly out of nowhere reforms? The Berlin Wall shoots back up out of the ground, and a zombie Vladimir Lenin smashes out of his crypt, groaning about crushing capitalism? Well, it may not be like this exactly, but Baba Vanga's alleged prediction claims that at this point in 2076, communism will not just be back, but will take over the entire world. In 2130, skipping ahead to the next century, humanity will, at this point, supposedly make contact with aliens. What could go wrong? Climate change in 2170 is going to get worse, and at this point, a drought is supposedly going to spread across the world. In 3005, perhaps it's due to human colonization, or perhaps it's aliens. Regardless, at this point, there will supposedly already have been some kind of civilization on Mars, and they will fight a war with Earth. In 3797 at this point, due to any number of reasons, the Earth will supposedly no longer be able to support life. Humans will allegedly leave their homeworld at this point and move on to parts unknown. This is it. The end gonna happen in 5079, the grand finale. And of course, with as vague of a prediction as this is, if this was even a real prediction at all, we know nothing about it. All we know is that the world will end. Yes, the world will supposedly already be uninhabitable by this point. So what this refers to is honestly anyone's guess. Does it go out with a bang or with a whimper? Is there a great epic battle or a rather anticlimactic incident? Keep in mind that this is all patently ridiculous. Yes, Baba Vanga was a real person, and yes, she has amassed quite a following and legend around her. However, since no one wrote down her predictions, no one knows if any prediction attributed to her these days is genuine. And even if it was, no one knows if the prediction would be true. But we need to take a note at this. Although there are many prophets who make predictions about the end of the world, in reality, God has said that no one knows the day or hour of his coming, but God.